On a hot summer day in the small town of Grierson in Yokanabatafar country, the entire town gathered for the funeral of mysterious woman, Emily Grierson. She was an old town icon, a lady of noble birth that had died alone in a Swedish farmhouse that had been decorated with cupolas and spires and scroll balconies in the heavily limestone style of the 70s. People came not only out of respect but also out of curiosity to see what lay within that house, the door, those silent brick walls that had been closed off for decades, and that for years or more no one but an old servant had entered. What lay within? Emily's story begins many years ago. As a young woman, she lived with her father, a brown man who believed that no one was worthy of their lineage. So he chased away on a young man who courted Emily, and then, one day, he died. Emily was left alone, with no family, no money, and only the old house as her only possession. But Emily did not cry. She stood in the doorway and proudly declared that her father was still alive. People had long pictured them as still alive. Emily, a slender figure in a white dress in the background. Her father, a large, sprawling shadow, standing in the foreground, his back to her, clutching a riding crop. She was deeply affected by her father's control. She clung to the past frantically because of her fear of being alone. 3 days later, when the smell of death filled the house, she was forced to let him go. She was sick for a long time. When people saw her again, her hair was cut short, like the very angels in the stained-glass windows of the church, both tragic and serene. A while later, Emily was seen with a strange man named Homer Baron, a northern foreman with a bright smile and a loud laugh. They were often seen working together on Sunday afternoons, riding a yellow wheel carriage pulled by a pair of beautiful brown horses. The whole town began to talk. Some thought Emily had finally found love, but others were skeptical. A southern lady like her could not marry a man like Homer, a northerner of low status who loved freedom above all else. The whole town was speculating, waiting for a wedding. Then one day, Emily went to buy arsenic from the drugstore. She was in her early 30s, thinner than before, with cold brown-like eyes in her face. When asked what she bought the arsenic for, she did not answer. People began to worry. Some thought she would commit suicide. But no, Emily was still alive, still appearing with Homer. In addition, people saw Emily go to the jewelry store to buy things for a wedding, and everyone was sure they were really married. But then one day, people saw Emily shoving open the kitchen door for Homer, and it was the last time they saw Homer Baron. And Emily, once they get closed the door, not going out. No one knew what happened. And then time passed until she died at the age of 74, and only then did her terrible secret come out. After the funeral, the man uptown locked down the door of the upstairs room, a room that no one had entered for decades. And then they were shocked. Amid the decades of dust, on the old bed lay a human skeleton that seemed to have been in an embrace. The body had rotted and was inseparable from the bed where he lay. Homer Baron had never left. On the second pillow beside him, there was a deep indentation where someone had lain every night. and on it, covered with dust, a long strand of iron gray hair. Abby had kept and protected her love for Hammer forever in the most horrifying way during all those lonely years.